Hello everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at puppets. Now you might ask, what exactly is a puppet? Now a puppet is anything, any object that can be used to represent a person or an animal and be used to tell a story with. So it could be something really simple, even like on your fingers you could draw two little eyes and a mouth, and there you have the simplest finger puppet you could possibly wish to have, and it could tell a story. Hello everyone, my name is Mrs. Finger. Okay, now of course you get many types of puppets, so we're going to go through them one by one. As I said, the first kind of puppet, that is the most simple puppet, is a finger puppet. It is usually made up of a little sock that covers the finger, and then it will have a face or ears added onto it, and you would use your fingers to operate the puppet. You can obviously have 5 finger puppets on each hand, so one person could operate 10 finger puppets at a time. Finger puppets are really restricted in their movements because all they can do is basically move forward or to the side, and they can't really scratch their head or speak or open their mouths. So that's the simplest kind of puppet, the finger puppet. We then go on to the hand puppet or the glove puppet, which is self-explanatory. It is something that will fit over your hand like a glove. Generally speaking, your index finger would go up into the head of the puppet, and these 2 fingers are used to operate the hands of the puppet. Glove puppets get operated from below, and as a person has only got 2 hands, one person can only operate 2 puppets at once. They are pretty easy to store. They can just be put into a cardboard box and they don't get tangled up or easily broken. A very nice kind of puppet to make at home that is really easy to do is a sock puppet. So you take a sock and then you create a puppet that slips over your hand. It is a sort of glove puppet, but without using the fingers at all. Another simple kind of puppet is a stick puppet, where you have a stick with an image of a person or a character stuck to the stick, and the person moves the puppet by just moving the stick around. Very simple puppet. A rod puppet is a little bit more of a complex stick puppet. The body would be attached to a stick or a rod, and then the hands are operated by 2 long extended sticks. Sometimes legs can be operated in this manner, and sometimes if it's a bird, you could have the 2 sticks which would operate the wings. Shadow puppets are usually a cutout made out of cardboard, leather or wood, or you could use your hands in various shapes to cast a shadow onto a screen. Often there is a light that is projected from behind so that we can actually see those puppets being illuminated onto the screen. A marionette puppet or a string puppet is probably the most complex puppet. It is one of the few puppets that is actually operated from above. Most other puppets are operated from below. Now, a marionette has got strings that operate the movement of the legs and of the hands. They are possibly one of the more realistic looking puppets because there's a certain magic to them. They look as if they are moving by themselves. They are really tricky to operate because their strings do get tangled rather easily, and they are very heavy on the arms as you are holding the puppet up and having to operate from the top. One puppet is usually operated by one puppeteer at a time. So you have to be able to swap between characters, so you're pretty limited with that. And they are very difficult to store because the strings get tangled up, and they are a nightmare once they have been tangled up. Marionettes were very popular during medieval times, where puppet shows were done by the church to tell people Bible stories, and it was generally the people that couldn't read or write, so they had to watch a show to actually learn the Bible stories. And often the main character would be Jesus's mother, who was Mary, and that's where the word comes from, Little Mary, a marionette. So marionettes, remember, are string puppets. Traditional bunraku puppets came from Japan. The puppeteers would be seen by the audience, and they would often be dressed in black, and they would operate a puppet as a team. One puppeteer would hold a handle behind the puppet's head, and that would operate the puppet's head to be able to turn from side to side or up and down, and that puppeteer would also operate one of the puppet's hands. Then a second puppeteer would operate the other hand, and a third puppeteer could operate the puppet's legs. These have become pretty popular nowadays, and you can use rather large puppets with this form of puppeteering. You also get very large body puppets where a person would fit inside a puppet's body. So perhaps the person would be operating a large dragon and would slip their feet into dragon's feet, and then they would have a big strap on them and rods that would operate the dragon's hands and his movement of his head. So those are quite popular in the theatre because they can be quite impressive because of their size. They're really large. Puppets are used for many things nowadays. They are used as children's toys. They can be used in education to teach things. They are used on the stage in theatres. They are also used in adverts and on television for children's programs particularly, and they are often used in comedy shows for adults even by ventriloquists. Now, ventriloquist is a person who is able to make his voice seem like it's coming out of the puppet's mouth without moving his own mouth. So a ventriloquist will sit with a puppet on his lap, and he will appear to be talking to the puppet, and the puppet talks back to him. But it's actually the puppeteer who is producing the sound for the puppet's voice as well. So there you have it, a whole lot of interesting facts about puppets. Now, you're going to be going on to be making a puppet show of your own.